once again, the conversation is back on the table. Now, the National Petroleum Authority has actually announced new minimum price floors for petroleum products for the second pricing window of March, and that's a move that has actually raised concerns about what it could mean for the cost of living and also the cost of doing business. Now, under the new price adjustment, petrol and diesel prices are expected to rise, with diesel recording one of the sharpest increases in recent months. Now, the decision also means that oil marketing companies will no longer be able to to sell fuel below the approved price floor, effectively limiting the discounts that some consumers previously relied on. Now, for many Ghanaians, the big question is simple. What does this mean for transport fares, for business operating costs, and also the prices we pay for everyday goods and services? Now, we know we're at a time when global energy markets remain uncertain, and these changes could actually have ripple effect across the entire economy. And so this morning we are joined by Professor Jabir Mohammed. He's an economist, and he's going to help us unpack the implications of this policy and whether it is necessary for market stability and how it could even influence inflation and what it means for the Ghanaian consumer in the months ahead. And that's what we're talking about this morning. Doc, good morning and welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Yeah, Samuel, good morning to you.
Yeah, the name is Nii Trebi.
Hello.
Yeah, the name is Nii Trebi.
It's who? New?
Nii Trebi.
Okay, Nii. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine, Doc. Doc, I hope you're well. It's been a while.
Yes, you also call me professor. In academic parlance, when you are not a professor, you are not called a professor. But in some jurisdiction, every academic faculty is a professor. But in Ghana, we have a different way of our positions.
Right. Well, actually, said doctor.
I'm a senior lecturer. I'm not yet a professor.
Okay, right. So that says Dr. Jabir Mohammed. All right, Doc, let's get into our conversation. Now, to start with, let's help our listeners understand this policy. What exactly is a fuel price floor, and why would regulators introduce one?
Thank you once again, and good morning to all our listeners out there. In basic economic sense, in microeconomics, we say a price floor is a price that the government sets, within which the consumers are not supposed to pay less than that, or sellers of any commodity are not supposed to sell less than that. That is a price floor. Then we also have a price ceiling. The price ceiling is up there, a price that you are not supposed to sell above.
Above, right.
So in terms of the floor, you are not supposed to sell below it. So what that means is that any of the oil marketing company cannot sell below what the government has set, even if you have the production efficiency or if you have the operational efficiency to lower your cost, you cannot do below that.
Okay.
What that means is that it has certain implications for we, the consumers, especially if the seller tells you that I can do something below what the regulator is telling me, that tells you that the consumer is shortchanged. What that means is that the consumer surplus is being consumed by the producer surplus.
Okay.
So the consumer is going to be worse off in terms of welfare.
So which
people? So if you look at this company, Star Oil, the last time the law came up, Star Oil were of the opinion that we can even sell below what the government is asking us to sell. What that means is that they have the operational efficiency to be able to sell below that. But you have to bear in mind that this is a monopolistically competitive industry. In economics, if you say an industry is monopolistically competitive, it means that you have many buyers and you have many sellers, just that they have differentiated products that they all do. So it means that they can price their goods and services differently. And that is how come that prices of the petroleum products are not uniform across the board.
Right. But why do regulators introduce price floors?
Yeah, they do that because, one, they want to be able to ensure that there is stability, and they want to give life to new entrants, or they want to give life to companies that are not so resilient in the market, so that they don't compete them out. If you look at the 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 banking sector, you will notice that the Bank of Ghana also institute what we call the Ghana referencing rate in terms of loan pricing. So the Ghana referencing rate is the base rate for all banks to price their goods and services upon. So that is what the 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 MPA has also adopted. If you look at the MPA, they do it in two different layers. They have what we call the S refinery price, and they have what we call the S pump price. These are two strategically areas of operation because they have to satisfy two layers of the people in the value chain.
Right.
One has to do with the BDCs, those who bring the oil in bulk production. And the other aspect has to do with the oil marketing companies. So the interests of these two groups must be protected by the regulator.
Okay.
And for that matter, they are all imputed into the computation of the price floor. Then we have a final arrival. So if you look at it carefully, you will notice that the MPA will have what we call the S refinery price. The S refinery price is made up of two elements. One that has to do with the FOB, free on board, so which means that what we import, so which is computed using the exchange rate, the going exchange rate. So if the city is stable, we are more likely to pay at a lower rate. But if the city isn't stable, we are more likely to pay at a high rate. And the reason why we are not even paying around 17, 18, 20 something Ghana cedi per liter is because we have a stable city. Right. That's how come that we are not paying that. So they do the S refinery price first, by first of all computing the FOB plus the premium or plus the margin that will be coming from the bulk oil distribution companies. So when that is done, then they now pick the S refinery price. They'll add the government taxes, like, you pay VAT and you pay other things. And you add the street levies like the NHIS and all those things. And there is also a stabilization fund levy that the MPA charges and all of that. They add all those levies. Then finally, the premium from the oil marketing company, depending on your operational efficiency, you determine your premium based on that. So you will notice that in the banking sector, their interest rates differ. You don't expect a bank to charge a bigger bank to charge a risk premium higher than a smaller bank, because the bigger bank has economies of scale and they have operational efficiency as compared to the smaller banks. So that is how come that a savings and loans company rate is higher than a bank. And it's also lower than a rural bank, which is also lower than a microfinance, which is also lower than a credit, microcredit, etc. So that is how it is done. Based on your size, your marginal efficiency, your marginal cost is lower. And that's what adds it up. So these are the two angles by which the MPA computes the price floor. So when that is done, it's to ensure that there is stability in the sector. That is their main motive, so that they can protect the younger ones in the sector. Otherwise, the bigger ones will consume them with lower prices. So that's how come that they do this.
I see. But is this something that exists in many countries, or it's unique to markets like Ghana?
No, it's not something that is new to only Ghana. Other countries will follow similar suit. But in some countries, they allow them, just like in the past, the Bank of Ghana was not regulating interest rates in terms of the Ghana reference rate. They allowed the banks to use a certain formula to determine their own base rate. Then after which they add premiums and other things to it. But subsequently, there has been significant changes in the sector, and which is revolutionizing the nature of rates that we have in the banking sector, which is highly competitive. So this is done to be able to protect the sector. that is the point of view of the what do you call it, the regulator. But others who contrary view to that, they say, okay, fine, if you are efficient, let's be efficient. Give the oil marketing companies the leeway to be able to, if they can charge below the going price, let them charge below the going price. You can't say they shouldn't charge below that. Give them a price ceiling. Don't give them a price floor. You understand the point?
Yeah.
So that's what others are arguing. And to the consumer, when a price ceiling is given, it makes them a better off as compared to a price floor.
Price floor.
Yes.
But in cases where the price floor is actually dropped, isn't it going to benefit consumers?
Yes, it's gonna benefit them in a particular sense. Why is it dropping? It is dropping because of the factors I just mentioned. What constitutes this? But you have to bear in mind that the strict levies don't change; they remain as they are. But of course, they are computed on the basis of the FOB price, on the basis of the S refinery price. So once they are computed on the S refinery price, and economic factors change, and exchange rate is the main determining factor. So once the economy performs better and the exchange rate is good, you opt not to have challenges when it comes to even computing the S-pump prices.
Okay, right. All right. So let's move on. So who exactly benefits? Now you're saying that the consumers are always disadvantaged, or most of the time disadvantaged when there's price floor. So who benefits? Is it the companies or the regulator?
So you have to note that is the end beneficiary is the one selling to you, because his profit margins are going to go up. And also the regulator will also stand to benefit. The tax authorities will benefit, because once their income levels are high, taxes that are going to be charged on it are also going to be high. You know that.
Yeah.
And eventually the government will take more taxes from it. More revenue means that more revenue to the government, and less revenue means that less revenue to the government. So you, the ordinary person like you and I, who will have to go to the pump and buy, we are going to be squeezed out of our little income that we earned from our daily bread. So that's going to be that for us. And if you don't use, everybody is a consumer of petroleum products. You cannot say you are insulated from the consumption. Even those in the villages who don't even use a car daily, they are also consumers of petroleum products, because they use electricity and other things. So everybody is affected.
That's
and
true.
It is a general tax levies that the government is giving to us. So if inflation is down, then let's allow petroleum prices to go up, which is highly inelastic, and the consumer have no option than to buy. Okay. So for that matter, we can generate our revenue out of that place. Inflation is a tax, so why don't you push it to the petroleum products? You remember some time back when the dollar was performing, the Ministry of Finance came out with a particular circular, and they came out with a bill. They went to Parliament and they agreed, and they decided that they were going to adjust our petroleum prices by 1 Ghana cedi so that we can keep our light on. You remember that policy? Yes. So these are things that the government does. So it's an avenue for the government to generate revenue.
Okay, right. Let's move on and now understand exactly why the NPA is actually adjusting this. Now, the NPA says that this adjustment applies to the second pricing window of March. What may have triggered this decision at this particular point in time?
Yeah, there had been an international adjustment in terms of fuel prices. You know that prices have gone up, even up to about $100 and something, owing to the fact that we have challenges in the Middle East. The tripartite war that is actually going on in the Middle East, that's the 3 countries fighting, is giving a very Herculean task to this particular arena, because the oil supply has dropped about 25% globally. That's like 1/5 or so. They control 1/5 of the total oil in supply, which is Iran. So if that has given a sharp decline, it means that the less quantum you have, more people demand, prices will go up. So it's a simple demand and supply forces. So it has pushed the prices up, and it is now about 100 and something dollar per barrel. So 100 and something dollar per barrel means that obviously we have to adjust our prices here, right? We have to adjust the prices here. It's going to be a global phenomenon. It's not only Ghana that the prices are going to be adjusted, and it's going to be an energy security issue because more people demand the petroleum product for their daily activities in terms of production, in terms of shipment of goods and services, in terms of aviation. Almost every sector, production, every sector demands that. So once there is a global shift in the political risk, then there is going to be a problem. And you even know that very soon you're going to be having price inflation in terms of even imported products. Uh, the shipping the shipping lines across board who pass through that particular lane will not want to pass through that, which means that it's going to lengthen their movements. So they are going to be charging a political risk premium on most of the 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 shipment the shipping airlines, most of the costs. So we have to brace ourselves for high prices that may came up uh, in the global space. This is more Herculean and more difficult as compared to the war that we have in Ukraine and Russia. So this is more intense than Ukraine and Russia. So if missiles are being fired, and you know, Iran is actually pushing back to almost all the U.S. bases in the Middle East. So the war is not just on Iran alone. The war is across the Middle East, and most of them, bear in mind, are major oil-producing countries. And you will see the impact is heavier as compared to the impact that we had in Russia, Ukraine. So that's what we have to understand. So until the tension de-escalates or reduces, we're not going to have the breathing space. So I know and I believe that what I think Ghanaian authorities should be doing is to continue to strengthen the city. That is the only safest way, that the safest net that we can have, and that would be able to sustain and make our life much more better. Otherwise, we are going to be buying petrol close to 20 something cities, etc. So we have to, in fact, it's a very serious matter.
But by strengthening the CD, how do you mean?
Well, we need to do things that will not potentially bring more listen. We have to be careful. Thanks be to God that we are not getting a lot of financing from the central bank. The central bank is not printing money to finance government budget. Government is spending within their means. And that's one potential point. And the potential activities of, we are having gold prices has gone up about 5,000 plus dollars per ounce. And we are also exporting more gold. So, and I think that these are things that can continue to do that. And we have more reserves. We have been told we have more than 13 point something billion dollars reserves. So, which means that at any point in time, the Bank of Ghana can come in to cushion the economy because we are operating what we call a floating managed exchange rate regime, where the central bank can periodically come upstream to help to shore up the value of the city. So once you have more reserves, you have the potential to keep your city in a very stable manner. So let's continue to encourage them to do so.
I see. But back to the adjustment. Would you say that this was an inevitable adjustment?
Of course, if global prices are going up, will you sit down and say global prices are going up, and for that matter, you want to keep your business? You get people out of business. They have no other option. There is no any economic miracle to tell you that the upward adjustment will not come. Look at it. Petrol went up about 10 point something percent. I think 10.61%. Then diesel is about 25 point something percent. Let me see my figures. Diesel is about 25.7%. and LPG went up by 13.75%. So you can imagine versus the last price window.
Yeah.
So if the tension don't escalate at the Middle East and the prices keep going up, it's going to be having an untold effect on the consumer, which we don't praise so. Because you remember the last time when our inflation went up to about 50 something percent, petroleum prices went about 17 and 23% per liter and all of that. We don't want to get to that situation.
And you're saying that the only way we
get to that situation, more people will have to park their vehicles, because you know our salaries were just increased by 9%.
Yeah.
So if your utilities and others are going up by 25-30%, it's unanticipated. It's an unanticipated inflation. So, and more Ghanaians don't prepare for unanticipated inflation. It has a very serious shock on their income and their living standard.
Right. Okay. Permit me to take you back a bit. And when you were talking, when we were trying to understand the policy and you were explaining the things, one thing that came to mind was that many people continue to call for certain price floors or price ceilings when it comes to certain other goods in the economy. I mean, people have actually said that let's control prices because people continue to take advantage of the ordinary Ghanaian and all of that. What are your thoughts on that? Why can't we introduce, for instance, price floor for some of the things that we sell in this country?
No, we are operating in a free market economy, okay? And it's not every sector that the government has can regulate. That's how come that we need a strong consumer protection agencies or societies. They are the people that can enforce that. As for the government has control over certain essential commodities, like the petrol. They have a regulator to control it, like Bank of Ghana. They have a regulator to control it, and other important sectors of the economy, ECG, all of that. The PURC and all those agencies are there to regulate that. And these are what makes up the volatile element when it comes to inflation. So in inflation, we have a headline inflation and we have the core inflation. So if you look at the headline inflation constitutes all these volatile items. So more economists are more concerned about the core inflation because the volatile items, we can still have control over them, yet they are still the volatile items when it comes to inflation competition. You get the point. Even the core other elements are not really like that in the basket of the competition of the inflation that we see. So to essentially say that the government should intervene in every sector will mean that we are practicing a centralized economy. And that's not what Ghanaians has opted for. Ghanaians has opted for what we call a liberalized economy. So you cannot at any point in time come to control prices the way you want to control. You have up to what you can do. Even with this control that they are doing, it's not absolute because you can still see that the oil marketing companies have different rates. You get the point?
Yeah.
So they have different rates. Just that they cannot sell below this. But they have some of them tell us that if they are given the power, they can sell below that. So that should tell you that. So when you place it at that price floor, they don't increase anything, they remain there. If you look at Star Oil and even Gore, you see that their differences are no match. Because these are two big players competing among themselves. And Shell and Total are also competing among themselves. They are also in a different realm when it comes to the international petroleum sector, oil marketing sector.
I see. Okay. Doc, kindly hold on for me. Let me just announce the phone lines in case somebody's listening to us and they want to be a part of the conversation. Well, if you just tuned in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nii Trebi. Now, this morning, we're having a conversation with Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, and he's helping us make sense of exactly what is happening. The conversation this morning is the new fuel price floor. by the NPA and exactly what it means for Ghanaians. And he's tried to make us understand exactly what the policy means and who it affects most, and also why we need, why government or why the NPA couldn't ignore that adjustment at this particular time. If you just tune in, you can join a conversation by engaging us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment there and I will read them for you. Also, you can send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. And I'll read your messages for you as well. You can also call us on 03039566641, 03039566641, and then I give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning right here on the show. All right, so Doc, let's continue the conversation, and I want us to look at competition in the fuel market now. Now, one of the key issues here is that oil marketing companies cannot sell below the price floor, meaning that they cannot offer the discounts consumers used to enjoy. How does that affect competition in the fuel market?
Obviously, yes. Like I said, in a monopolistically competitive sector, what is driving their prices or driving their income? It's about giving discount and advertisement. So in terms of advertising, they tell you that we are giving you this promotion, we are doing this, we are doing that. So if the regulator is telling you that you cannot sell below that, when they know that even with their advertisement and everything, they can still beat their marginal cost and still make profit. So why do you prevent them from doing that? Because you have an interest to protect other entrants.
Right.
Who cares? Okay, their point is that who cares if the other entrants cannot up their games? Why should you use price floor to protect them? That is the bone of contention, because I have my tactics to be able to do that. And it is allowed in monopolistically competitive markets because that gives them the opportunity to experiment different prices scenarios, and they can stimulate. Okay. So they can tell you that, okay, fine, if we even do marginally below the price floor with advertisement and everything, we are going to push our revenue up by this. So if you reduce by, let's say, so if the government says sell at 11.57, this okay, fine, we can sell at 11.35.
Right.
You get the point?
Yeah.
They've knocked some pesos out, knowing very well that when they knock those pesos out, they are going to rake in so much revenue that it can offset the pesos that they've knocked out.
Okay.
So if you give them a price floor, you have indirectly prevented the consumers from enjoying their consumer surplus that they would have enjoyed if you haven't done that. And there is going to be a serious deadweight loss to society whenever such things are implemented.
Okay.
Yes. In economics, when we say a deadweight loss, that's economically lost to the society if things has done in a different manner. If you had benefited from if it were to be a price ceiling, it means that it gives them the opportunity to even price the way they want to price.
Right.
But you have not done a ceiling, you have rather done a floor, and it is not giving them the leeway to be able to readjust. So that is like an economic cohesion on the part of the government to the retailer who could have made things better for the consumer. So the consumer becomes worse off. The consumer, as I said earlier on, their welfare is being taken over by the seller. So instead of enjoying consumer surplus, you are rather enjoying what? It is rather a producer surplus that's being enjoyed by the consumer. So in this particular sense, the consumers are very much affected as compared to the producer economically, as compared to the seller.
Okay. Right. Now, I also know that once additional levies, operational costs, and dealer margins are added, the pump prices could actually rise even further. How significant could this increase be for the average Ghanaian?
No, it depends on the levies margins. But I get a sense, what the sense I get out of it is that if you look at the formula that they use in the computation of the the price floor, it appears that all of these factors have been adjusted. But you have to bear in mind that the adjustment comes from, you can use an average adjustment rate to give. So even if the margin that they are doing, they are using, the margin is what differs. After the taxes and the levies, they are the same. But the margins to the oil marketing companies, the margins to the BDCs differs. That's why the differences come in based on your operational stuff.
Okay.
But all in all, they can determine a precise average on an industry average and use the industry average to impute it into the computation of the price floor. So that is how come that some of the oil marketing companies will just pick that margin and sell. They will not even add anything to it. Yeah, because everything has already been catered.
But is there a possibility that some other prices will rise beyond what the regulator initially projected?
Yeah, some will sell above the price floor. Yes, that's why it's a price floor. You can sell above, but you cannot sell below it. So some of them will be at the 11.57. They will not go beyond that. And they can also go below that. So, right. But others will have to adjust, because if the margin they add doesn't meet their operational costs, they will have to go an inch ahead of that.
Okay. Right. And looking at the impact on transport as well, we all know that fuel prices often influence the transport fares. I think you hinted that earlier, that Ghanaians should actually expect some transport fares increments, following this adjustment.
Yeah, I spoke about the fleet in terms of the fleet. Sorry. I spoke about the fleet in terms of what, like the import arena. That's what I spoke about. But in the local, you notice that 10.61%, and most of the vehicles, commercial vehicles, are driven on diesel.
Yeah.
They are not consumers of petrol. They are driven on diesel. Which means that the transport companies or the transport operators may want to come into a discussion with the Ministry of Transport to possibly see, but I will not advise them to immediately seek for price increments now.
Why?
The reason is that there is a possibility that if you go in and get the price increment now, and in the second window, price go up again, are you going to go back to the table and be asking for additional increment?
Is that not possible?
What is going to be the reaction of consumers? So just give, if they continue to receive the fares they are receiving, I don't think it's going to have any impact on their operations. They should continue to receive the fares that they are receiving, at least for this second window to end, so that in April, beginning from 1st April, we'll see whether there is going to be an additional adjustment. If there is no additional adjustment and it's still the same, they maintain the same thing, then they can now ask for their price increment.
Okay.
So I will not potentially advise them. If it will be a knee-jerk reaction if they rise up and they want an immediate increment because price floor has gone up. That shouldn't be the case.
So you think that they should wait? They should wait for the next pricing window before they can.
The next pricing window before they take an action. So this is more beneficial to consumers, and consumers will prepare their minds to receive whenever they make adjustments. But when you just do that, you will see that the spontaneous reaction from consumers will also be very heavy, and that is not going to be good even for government. So on the part of the government or Minister of Transport, they opt to write to them and tell them that this is just one of the kind of adjustments. So they should wait for the second price window so that they can amicably come out with this. So if I am the Minister of Transport, that is the angle I'm going to take. I will just convene a meeting with the operators and have that discussion with them, and possibly that can work out.
I see. All right, very interesting. Now let's move on to the impact on businesses as well. Now, many businesses we know rely heavily on fuel. I mean, from delivery services to manufacturing and even cold storage and all of that. What impacts could this adjustment also have on their operating costs?
Well, that element, now our electricity is more stable as compared to the past
Mm.
that we used to see. So most of them will not run on generators. So that will have an impact on reduction in terms of their cost, because if they are going to be based on the national grid, as it currently stands, prices has gone down by about 4 point something percent in recent times for both utilities, water and electricity.
I
So
think
what
they
that means
hinted
is that
first April.
indirectly, in terms of production, it
Mm.
will not have a serious impact, especially if they are not running on generators. But if they also use vehicles in their activities and all of that, that is that part of their operational cost which is going to go up. But the production cost may not go up so much. So operational costs can increase. And in terms of cost element, the cost is a constituent of capital and labor and even the technology. So your marginal productivity of labor might possibly go up because of, or even your marginal productivity of materials can possibly go up because of the element of the operational cost that may that may come up as a result of the use of your vehicles, etc., to power your generation. So businesses are going to be affected from that point of view.
Mm.
But the point of the direct production, in terms of the use of energy, may not be so much impactful as it stands right now,
Right.
given that the situation in the electricity prices don't go up. If electricity prices go up, then it will directly affect the productivity cost. But
Mm.
otherwise, productivity costs may not be so much go up by higher margin.
Okay. Well, but I mean I'll still agree. I agree with you though, but I still know that there are some other companies or businesses that actually run on fuel. Some people don't fully rely on electricity just yet,
So
and so those.
yeah, so that's why I give a caveat.
Mm.
My caveat is based on that. You see, it's about energy efficiency.
Yeah,
Some of them even run on solar and
and
other
all of that. Yes.
related energy products.
Yep.
So once that is done, they have a mixture, they have a mix energy mix. So their energy mix is that the generators are standby. Like I said, if you look at Nigeria, if you go to every corner, it's everywhere. So you don't, and even with that, they still make profit. You understand the point?
Yeah.
Yes. So uh, let alone we having a stable electricity, and in Ghana, we are almost about 80% of even the urban areas, like 90 something percent connectivity. There is no urban area that you go and you will not have that. I think the last time I did something for IGC, a PRC project. We When we look at it, we were running around 90 something, 97% or so for the urban area. It's the rural areas that they were still a bit lower. And there was an anticipation that by the close of 2025, we may even hit close to 100% in the urban communities. So
True.
I think fairly good. Let's give credit to our leaders, the Electricity Company of Ghana, Energy Commission, the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition. I think they are doing a wonderful work. And I just believe that things will get more better as we go on.
Right. Okay. In terms of inflation as well, I mean, energy prices are a key driver of inflation. Could this adjustment contribute to inflationary pressures in the economy?
Yeah, obviously, yes, because prices of goods and services will definitely each up.
Mm.
So there's what we call the energy-driven inflation. Okay, because of, as I told you earlier on, we have the core inflation and we have the headline inflation. So, and the these are volatile prices. So as they go up, it's going to have a serious impact on the 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 cost of energy product, and it will simultaneously, maybe in the next window that we have in terms of our our inflation, it may go up. Currently, I think inflation is about 3 point something percent, right?
Yeah,
If you check at the Bank of Ghana
3.3.
website, it may be about 3 point something percent.
Yeah, I think it's 3.3 now.
Yeah, 3.3%.
Yeah.
So, what that means, that it doesn't mean that prices are not going up, right?
Yes.
But prices are going up at 3.3%. That's the meaning of that. Uh-huh. When people are saying inflation is coming down, we are not seeing prices. No, that's not the case. It means that prices are going up, but at a lower rate.
Yeah.
Instead of going up by 15%, 20%, 30%, 54%, like we had 2022, every month, it means that that month prices went up by 54%. It means that last month prices went up by 3.3%. That's the meaning of what we are seeing.
Yeah.
So that's what Ghanaians must understand. So once inflation is coming down, it doesn't mean that the rate at which you buy things, the prices should also come down. It means that there are certain uh, items in the basket that are having a reduced price, but others are also going up. So cumulatively, on average basis, the price went up by 3.3%. That's the meaning of what you are seeing.
Oh, we are seeing, right.
Okay.
So which sectors of the economy are most likely to feel the impact first?
In terms of the inflation,
Yes.
but definitely, this, our consumers. We will consume goods and services every day. So those things that you eat and all of that. Given the fact that the advice I give earlier on, prices of of fares don't increase from today going. If they remain as it is, it means that the end of month inflation may even come down. But if the ministry give them the opportunity to increase prices, inflation will go up. But you have to know that we have other imported inflation, like I said earlier on about the 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 import of goods and services. Because of what is happening, the uh, the shipment companies are changing their rate, so that may have an imported inflation that may come into thing. Otherwise, uh, we're not going to have much impact. And also, because there is a shortfall in the petroleum globally, it's going to affect productivity. So it's going to be a shortfall in terms of the goods and services that will be produced out there. And once there is a shortfall, prices will go up there. So when you bring it, you have an important inflation. But domestically, they will also have to import some of the product and do the final finishing here. And that can also potentially increase the prices of goods and services that their raw materials are import dependent. But if their raw materials are not import dependent and it is going to be on local basis, then you should know that it is just going to increase as compared to the import dependent one.
The ones.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Maybe let me announce the lines again, and then we can try and wrap up. Well, so if you just tune in, we're talking this morning about the new fuel price floor by the National Petroleum Authority and what exactly it means for Ghanaians. And my guest is Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, and he is helping us make sense of exactly what this means. And we know that there's going to be an impact in terms of transport on some businesses as well as inflation from what we've discussed so far. If you just tuned in, you can actually drop a comment on our live stream. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Drop your questions, your comments, and we'll read them for you and get Doc to address them. Also, you can call us on you can drop a message on our WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019, or you can also place a call on 0303956641, 0303956641, and we also give you the opportunity to ask your questions or make your comments this morning. All right, Doc, let's continue the conversation. So still in terms of inflation, could this complicate efforts to stabilize prices in the economy?
Well, yes, it's potential. There's a potential impact there. The government may have some difficulties in the coming months if the tension in the Middle East continue to be the way it is, because of the global shock in terms of petroleum products, the shortage globally in terms of petroleum products, and the fact that you're not going to have more products coming into the country, and that can potentially impact that. But the government, we are learning that TOR is back to track. So if TOR is back to track, I expect to see that the oil we even produce in Ghana, we should have the capacity to refine component of it. If that is not the case, then we have to begin to explore mechanisms by which we can refine some of the oil locally so that we can show up what is going to be imported from outside. And I believe that when we are able to do so, the margins that the BDT that will be put in will not be too much, and that can potentially continue to stabilize the situation. So when that happens, then inflation may not have so much impact. But if you don't have an internally way of trying to circum the situation, then we should be expecting that there's going to be a trickling down effect in terms of inflation to the final consumers.
Right. Okay. Let's try and wrap up by touching on maybe the impact on households as well. Now, for the ordinary household, what does this mean in terms of their daily living costs?
Definitely. So if fares go up, let's assume that fares go up, and you have 3 children going to school, you have to pay for all their fares.
Yeah.
So if they were paying, let's say, in and out, they were spending 10 cedis and it go up by 15 cedis, up to 15 cedis, then it means that you have to cough up additional 20 cedis just a day. So multiply that by 5 days, that's 100 cedis. If you're also using a vehicle, now that petroleum price has increased by 10.61%, it means that you are going to be worse off in terms of income, because every liter you are paying 10 point something more percent to obtain. So if you are having a vehicle that consumes like 45 liters or 50 liters a week, multiply the 1.12 Ghana cedi by 50 liters a week, and multiply that by a month, you will notice that economically you're going to be worse off in terms of your income. So the household I just told you earlier on that the consumers are the sufferers of this policy, the price floor policy. I told you earlier.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. So the household and individuals, firms, everybody are affected. Whilst the oil marketing company enjoy the full benefit of it, government also enjoy the full benefit of it. We, the final consumers, are the worst beneficiary of the price floor policy.
So what kind of coping strategies would you or do households usually adopt when fuel prices rise?
Avoid unnecessary outing. Just economize your consumption level. If you don't have anything to do at your workplace, why do you have to drive? If you can request to work at home and you don't have to go out, why don't you do that? Okay.
Yeah.
If you have to go somewhere you don't think is necessary. So I think that we have to prioritize. That's why we learn basic economics, scale of preference. Let's ask yourself, if I don't go here, what is going to happen? If obviously nothing will happen, why would you waste your time to go
right?
and waste your fuel stuck in traffic? And also, I will advise them to utilize alternative routes. Look at the route that you can use and time of the day movement. Another coping mechanism is to use time of the day movement. Time of the day movement is that at what time is do you suspect that the traffic situation is going to be low? So if you don't have activity at peak hours, don't go at peak hours. So if you also go, make sure that you come before the peak hours starts for the other route. Then use alternative routes that you can use that you can dodge traffic and will not stuck in traffic for hours. So that's how come that technology is there. So use your Google map and that can always guide you to sometimes escape. Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes it can also mislead you. So, but you have to know the route that you are using. If you are going to a new area, you can find out from friends, or what alternative route can I use if there is traffic at this particular point? And they will show you, and you can conserve some level of fuel. And also, when you go to places, you have to off your engine and maybe possibly lower down your glass. If you have an open conversation with somebody in your car, stand at a place where there is shade so that you can lower down your glasses and you can have instead of leaving your engine on and talking. Okay.
All right.
So these are the basic things that we can do so that we can conserve the energy that we do have. Yes.
Okay, Doc, thank you very much. Maybe finally, so looking ahead, should we expect more adjustments in fuel prices in the coming months?
Yeah. If the tension in the Middle East don't end, we should expect. This one, there is not a rocket science. All symptoms are telling you. Now they've gone to bomb where the oil passes and all of that. So you can imagine how long it's going to take them to restore those pipelines. Yes. War is a necessary evil. It comes to destroy. It has a serious destruction. It destroys so many things. Yes. You can just sit in your country and somebody else will go and do his nonsense thing and it's going to affect your economy. It will throw you off gear. So you cannot go. There's going to be a serious energy war or energy insecurity in the country, in the world, especially with this. The proponent of the war didn't just go to the war for a fun. There is a reason for that. There is an economic reason behind it.
Right. And if you were advising policymakers, what key measure would you recommend to cushion consumers while still maintaining stability in the fuel sector?
Oh no, that's what I told you. To cushion consumers, the Ministry of Transport must engage with transport operators.
That's on the transport side.
That's the largest group. So for the policy maker, I will potentially, I already said that just make sure that you keep your city stable. That's the only best way. For any other way, because if the petroleum price even go up to 120, 150 Ghana, $150 per barrel, and your city is stable, you can still be guaranteed of lower prices. But if it goes up like that, and the city also goes up to 15, 20 Ghana city and all of that, you can imagine we park our vehicles, we can't even buy.
That's true.
Yeah. So just make sure that you have a robust and stable city, and everybody will be free to go.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, Doc, thank you so much. I think it's been a very, very good conversation this morning. I'm really grateful that you made time to join me. Thank you so much for your time and thanks for your insights.
Thank you, and have a good time with all your listeners.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so that was Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana, and he joined us this morning talking about exactly what the new fuel price floor actually means for the ordinary Ghanaian. And he says that in these times, what you have to do is to be able to find a way to conserve your fuel by trying to reduce your movements and all of that if you are an ordinary Ghanaian. Now, for policymakers, he says that what we have to do really is to be able to stabilize our Ghanaian city. If we're able to do that, then we can actually be assured of some marginal changes in our cost of living and all of that. And so, very important conversation. If you miss any part of it, you are free to join us. Visit our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and X at ZFMGH, and also on TikTok and YouTube at Z Multimedia. Thank you very much for listening to us, and thanks so much to Dr. Jabir Mohammed, and thanks to you as well for being with me right from 6:15 till now. We're back again tomorrow for some more interesting conversations right here on your Business Breakfast on Z 101.9 FM, your lifestyle, leisure, and business platform. My name is Nii Trebi Hammond. Until we meet again tomorrow, please take very good care of yourself and make sure that when you think Ghana, you think Z. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okoria Mwako. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.